Today I'm super excited to teach you all about Indiana. The word Indiana means land of the Indians. And so what I'd like you to do today is to get out your piece of paper that shows the map of Indiana. And you'll notice at the top we have a blank. It says Indiana means land of the, and we're going to write the word Indians right on that line. So you can use your pencil or you can use your blue crayon. INDIAN, and then S. You'll notice the word Indiana has the word Indian in it because it means land of the Indians. If you look at your map, you'll notice at the very bottom, there's this little squiggly line that goes all the way across our state. And I want to show you here on this picture, on this side of the state, this is Indiana. And then over here, this part is Kentucky. And the Ohio River separates Indiana from Kentucky. So this line here is like that river that goes, it's called the Ohio River, and it separates Indiana, which is here, from Kentucky. So we're going to draw that on your map. Keep your blue crayon out. And if you look down here at the bottom of the state, we're going to trace this line with a blue crayon. So go ahead and use your blue crayon and trace that line. The next place we're going to talk about in Indiana is all the way at the top of our state. And you'll notice there's a little shape at the top that's kind of indented. I'll show you that on the map on the next page in just a minute. But up there near Lake Michigan is called the Indiana Dunes National Park. So it's actually a national park, and you can look on your map, and at the very tippy top right here, this whole area is water. And we're going to draw a little beach umbrella to show us that there's a beach up there. You can go in the summertime and it's nice and warm. So you can use a black crayon or you can use your pencil, and we're going to draw an umbrella. We're going to draw our umbrella right up here in this area. So make a little curved line, and then along the bottom, you'll make some upside down U's. We're going to make a J like a handle. I know your picture will look better than mine. Then you can use some colors and color in your umbrella. This symbol is going to represent the beach. Something else pretty cool in Indiana are the caves. And you can take a really cool boat through the caves. And while you're going through the caves, you will see fish sometimes in the water if you're in a boat. And you'll also see bats. Lots of bats in Indiana. So go ahead and get your map back out. And we're going to show where you might find bats in Indiana. Now I will say this, we live in Hancock County, which is about right here, and we see lots of bats in our yard. We've even had a bat in our house. But if you want to go into one of those caves, you're going to see a bat in this area. Okay, so we're going to draw our bat right there. And here's how we're going to do that. We're going to start with a circle. We're going to get some lines that go out to the side. Those upside down U's again. Upside down U's again. And then you can draw some little eyes. Maybe you want some ears. A little smile. I don't think bats really have smiles, but you can show their mouth. I'm sure most of you have probably been to this place. It's called the Children's Museum of Indianapolis, and it's actually the world's largest museum for kids. So think about that for a minute. Think about how big our Earth is, And the museum that's here in Indianapolis, in Indiana, is the world's largest museum that's just for kids. One of my very favorite things about Indiana is this called the Underground Railroad. And a long time ago, we've talked about slaves and how slaves are not free. But this was a couple. Their names are Levi and Catherine Coffin, and they lived in this house. And I'll show you in a minute on the map where they lived. And the front of their house looks pretty normal, but in the back of their house, they have, let me show you, this little door. And it's a door that leads down into their basement. And what they would do is they would let slaves stay down in that basement and hide as they were getting away to freedom so that they did not have to be a slave anymore. They would try to make their way all the way up to Canada, which is above the United States. And so they would put a lantern in their window, and that would mean that this was a safe place for the slaves to stay until they could travel on the Underground Railroad. Now, the Underground Railroad is not a real railroad. It's just a way. It's like a pathway that slaves could travel along to get to freedom. So when they went in that little door under their house, Levi and Catherine Coffin had these little places hidden inside their house. This is a little room. So if you go in this door, there's a room inside there that they would hide slaves in. And then they would slide this bed back in front of the door so it didn't even look like there was a door in that room. And then in that little door I showed you that was underneath their house, they had a whole little kitchen area. And they also had this well where the slaves could get fresh water. When they were trying to leave from the Levi Coffin and Catherine Coffin's house to travel, Levi and Catherine would put them in the back of this wagon, and they would leave this little space here, and the slaves would hide in there, and then they would stack all of these foods around them, so it looked like the wagon was full of all of these grains and corn, but really they were hiding slaves in there and helping the slaves get to freedom. So on your map, we're going to draw where they lived. They lived in this area right over here, close to Richmond. So that's where you're going to draw this. And we're going to draw a lantern. So we're just going to start with a little square. We're going to put a little handle on it. Then you can get out your yellow crayon if you'd like and draw a little light. And then draw some rays to show that it was bright for the slaves as they were trying to find freedom and safety. Indiana is also known for basketball. I'm sure you've heard of the Indiana Pacers, but also a little bit, it's pretty close to where we live. It's a place called Knightstown. There was a movie filmed in Knightstown. It's called Hoosiers. People that are from Indiana are known as Hoosiers. And this was a pretty famous movie. It was about a team that won a big game against another pretty difficult team. Indiana is also known for the Indianapolis 500 or Indy 500, and it's even on the back of our quarters. So each state has their own quarter, and you'll notice that we have this race car on the back of our quarter. And so we're going to talk about some of the flags that happen in the Indy 500. Flip your paper over, and you're going to need green, yellow, red, and black. And we're going to talk about what each of those flags mean. All right, so the first flag that we're going to color is going to be green. So I know you'll do a better job than me and stay in the lines, but go ahead and color your first flag green. And green means that the race is starting. So that's like green for go. The next flag we're going to talk about is the yellow flag. And yellow means there's probably an accident happening on the racetrack, so you need to start slowing down. And so sometimes they'll wave the yellow flag. That means slow down or caution. The next flag we're going to talk about is the white flag, and the white flag means that there's one more lap in the race. So when the flag person waves that white flag, that means that there's one more lap in the race until the race is over. We also have a red flag, so go ahead and color in your red flag. And the red flag means that there's been an accident and they're going to have to stop the race for a little bit. So go ahead and color in that red flag. This next flag is a flag that I just learned about this year, and it's called the red and yellow flag. And it has a stripe of red, so you can go ahead and get your red stripes on your flag. And then we have yellow stripes. And this flag means that there is oil or water or some other liquid on the racetrack. So sometimes after this red and yellow flag, they might decide to stop the race with the red flag. But that means to really pay attention because there's something slippery on the racetrack. And then the last flag we want to talk about is the favorite flag. It's called the checkered flag. And it means that that is the winner of the Indianapolis 500. So we're going to learn how to make a checkered flag today. We're going to draw these vertical lines, and then we're going to draw these horizontal lines. And then it's kind of like a pattern. Every other square, you're going to color it in black. And on the next row, we're going to do the opposite. So color it in black here, and black here, there. I'm sure your checkered flag will look much better than mine. But that means the race is over, and that is the winner of the race. The last thing I want to talk about Indiana is that Indiana is the world's top producer of popcorn. A lot of times Indiana comes in first place, being the top producer of popcorn, but sometimes Nebraska wins. But you probably notice here that we have kernels of corn. And if you just take those kernels of corn and put them in the microwave or put them in something hot, like a skillet or a pot, they will pop and turn into popcorn. I hope you learned something about Indiana today, and Go ahead on that last line and write something that you learned about Indiana, and let me know when you see me what you learned.